We'll now reconvene to open session. And this evening, we have Dr. Chris with our pledge to the flag.
Okay, I would like to invite DOS Toddy Casa from Washington Middle School up to the podium to lead us in this evening's flag salute. But before Toddy starts, I'd like to start with some wonderful things about this exceptional young man. Toddy Casa is an 8th grader at Washington Middle School, and I talked to the teachers there, and they actually unanimously all suggested you, so that was exciting for me. He's deeply passionate about helping others and is also deeply dedicated to music. He currently plays flute and piccolo with the Bakersfield Youth Symphony Orchestra and holds the first chair flute in the Bakersfield City School District Honor Band, which is huge, guys. Toddy is also the recipient of this year's Kern County Music Educators Association Private Lesson Scholarship. And in addition to his musical accomplishment, he consistently earns recognition on the principal's list, serves as captain of Washington's boys volleyball team. Looking ahead, he hopes to pursue a career in interventional cardiology while continuing his love for music by minoring in it during college. Toddy, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Please stand. Salute. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And then will you come join us for a photo? Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. Yesterday I'm on some picture. Aren't you going to come in and picture with us? Mr. Flores said he wants to come up too. You can move this chair. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Big smiles and 1, 2, and.
Thank you so much.
Okay, moving on to number 3, the report of closed session. During the recently concluded closed session, the board took action to appoint Chrissy Johnson as principal of Frank West, effective July 1st of 2026. The vote was unanimous. Congratulations to Mrs. Johnson. During its recently concluded closed session, the board voted to reject a claim for damages from RC against the Bakersfield City School District. The vote was unanimous. Number 4, excellence in BCSD, and we will have Mr. Havens and our superintendent, Dr. Carleen.
All right, good evening. I am pleased to announce our Excellence in Education Award recipients tonight, and we're going to start out in the category of accountability, and we are recognizing Maria Arevalo, receptionist and switchboard operator. right, staying in the category of accountability, we have Udelia Lopez Gonzalez, elementary teacher from Harding. Moving on to the category of caring, we have Fabian Perez Arce, library and media assistant from Mount Vernon. Continuing in the category of caring is Aurora Federico, elementary teacher from College Heights Elementary. Next up, the same category of caring, Rosa Flores Sandoval, elementary teacher from Pioneer. Staying in the category of caring is Martha Peralta Seapow from Hort. And last in the category of caring is Sabrina Martinez, Aide 2, College Heights Elementary. Moving on to the category of collaboration, we have Victor Valdez, Supervisor, Preventive Maintenance Team from Maintenance Operations and Facilities. Continuing with the category of collaboration, we have Maria Marroquin, Face Liaison from King Elementary. In the category of collaboration, we have Melissa Gomez Aguirre, psychologist, special education. Next up in the category of collaboration, we have Dr. April May, assistant principal from Fletcher. Moving on to the category of integrity, we have Kimberly Bustamante, head custodian of the Ed Center. Staying with the category of integrity, we have Casey Cisneros, program specialist from New Teacher Development. Also in the category of integrity, we have Dr. Gerardo Lewis, principal from Curran Middle School. moving on to the last category. Dr. Fullenwider said I should like have a future job in Jeopardy. When I'm category, you know, it'll be Jeopardy. Workplace safety. This goes to John Rodriguez Jr., campus supervisor from Wayside.
Ready, 1, 2, and 3.
They're great. I think there's people in the other room, no?
No,
No? They're not.
no.
I thought there's probably people outside that will come.
Oh. Yeah, no.
Let's see if they can close the doors. Moving on to public comments. Do we have any public comments?
Yes, we do.
To our visitors, members of the public may request that items be placed on the agenda of any regular board meeting. The items must be directly related to school district business. Items placed on the agenda by the public will be for information and discussion so that the board may be advised of the views of the community. Individuals may address the Board of Education by completing the forms provided at the door and submitting it to the administrative assistant prior to the start of the meeting. In order to run an efficient meeting, the board is not able to take questions or comments from the floor. During special meetings, public comment is limited to items on the agenda. A nuestros visitantes, los miembros del público pueden solicitar que se incluyan temas en la agenda de cualquier reunión ordinaria de la Junta de Educación. Los temas deben estar directamente relacionados con los asuntos del distrito escolar. Los temas colocados en la agenda por el público serán para información y discusión para que la Junta de Educación pueda conocer las opiniones de la comunidad. Las personas pueden dirigirse a la Junta de Educación completando los formularios proporcionados en la puerta y entregándolos al asistente administrativa antes del inicio de la reunión, para llevar a cabo una reunión eficiente. La Junta de Educación no puede responder preguntas ni comentarios a los asistentes. Durante las reuniones especiales, los comentarios del público se limitan a los temas de la agenda. And we will start off with la señora Petra Villanueva.
Buenas tardes a todos. Mi nombre es Petra Villanueva, soy de la escuela Mount Vernon y el tema que voy a tocar hoy
Good evening, everyone. My name is Petra Villanueva. I'm from Mount Vernon Elementary, and the subject I come to discuss
es acerca de la supervisión después de escuela.
is regarding supervision after school.
Los padres estamos muy preocupados acerca de las personas que son las encargadas de la supervisión después del programa o en el programa después de escuela.
We, the parents, are very concerned regarding the people that are in charge of supervising during the after-school program.
Sabemos que hay 3 o 4 personas que trabajan con credenciales y certificación del distrito.
We know there are 3 or 4 people that work with credentials and certificates from the district,
Pero sabemos también que son 40 escuelas las que ellos tienen que supervisar.
but we know that it's 40 schools that they have to supervise.
Necesitamos personal que sea certificado del distrito para que supervisen los problemas que están sucediendo en estos programas después de escuela.
We need staff that is certified by the district to oversee the problems that are taking place in this after-school program.
Sabemos que sí hay dinero para poder contratar más personal de seguridad,
We know that there's money to be able to hire more staff for security,
y también que a estas personas que trabajan ahorita, que son esas 3 o 4,
and that these people that work that right now, that are those 3 or 4,
necesitan mandarlas a entrenamientos,
need to be sent to trainings.
porque tengo entendido que hace mucho tiempo que no van a entrenamientos
Because it is my understanding that it's been a while since they've been to trainings.
y necesitamos estar preparados para cualquier emergencia.
And we need to be prepared for any emergency.
Recuerden que en estos meses son cruciales para nuestros estudiantes.
Remember that these months are crucial for our students.
Es el reclutamiento de las pandillas
Recruiting for gangs,
y necesitamos hacer una prevención en los programas después de escuela.
and we need to do prevention in the after-school programs.
Yo creo que ustedes como board members y personal del distrito
I believe that you as board members and district staff
siempre nos hablan de la seguridad de nuestros estudiantes
are always telling us about our children's security.
y este es un punto crucial que ustedes deben de poner atención.
And this is a crucial topic that you need to pay attention to.
Al igual que los padres que estamos de voluntarios después de estos programas
As well as the parents who serve as volunteers in these programs.
y que nos estamos dando cuenta de las anomalías en diferentes escuelas.
And are finding out about the anomalies at certain schools.
Creo que esta parte para ustedes es crucial en el retrato de un graduado,
I believe this part for you is crucial in the portrait of a graduate,
ya que en sus manos está la seguridad de todos nuestros estudiantes
since the safety of all our students is in your hands
y del personal que está trabajando para este distrito
and of the staff working for this district
después de escuela.
in the after-school program.
Y segundo punto, quiero decirles, no se me olvida que no tenemos una academia para los hispanos.
Second point I want to tell you, we don't have an academy for Hispanics.
Necesitamos tener las mismas oportunidades que tienen las personas afroamericanas
We need to have the same opportunities that are offered to the African American people
de servicios para nuestros
of
estudiantes,
services for our students.
ya que afortunadamente o desgraciadamente para ciertos grupos
Since unfortunately for certain groups,
sí somos mayoría
we are the majority
y necesitamos mucha ayuda.
and we need a lot of assistance.
Yo sé que a algunas personas no les incomoda este punto,
I know a lot of people are uncomfortable with this topic,
pero para mí como madre y miembro de la comunidad
but for me as a parent and member of the community,
que he estado envuelta en la escuela por 40 años,
I have been involved in the schools for 40 years.
es sumamente importante estos 2 puntos
These 2 points are extremely important.
Y quiero decirles, yo vengo para poder ayudar.
And I want to tell you I come because I want to be able to help.
Yo he ofrecido mi tiempo en las escuelas,
I've offered my time at the school sites
en asistencia,
with attendance,
supervisión
supervision,
y en todo lo que las escuelas necesitan.
and in anything the schools might need.
Y eso me da el derecho de venir a pedirles a ustedes
And that gives me the right to come and request from you
su cooperación,
your cooperation,
no para mí,
not for me,
sino para todos los estudiantes que lo necesitan.
but for other students that need it.
Así es que por favor les pido que pongan atención en estos dos puntos.
So I implore you to please pay attention to these 2 points.
Muchas gracias y buenas noches.
Thank you and good evening.
Thank you. Up next, we have Mrs. Parker. Ms. Parker? Sharnicia?
Good evening, board members. My name is Sharnisha Park, and I am parent of a student at Eisler Elementary. I'm here today after months of attempting to resolve serious concerns through the proper channels. Unfortunately, those efforts have not resulted in meaningful accountability or consistent improvement in communication. My concerns began with a significant safety incident in which my child was released early from the after-school program without appropriate parent notification. This was not a minor misunderstanding. It involved the supervision and safety of a minor. When I raised this concern, I expected transparency, follow-up, and reassurance. Instead, I experienced delays and a lack of clarity regarding how such situations are prevented moving forward. Since that time, I have observed a broader pattern of communication. This pattern has affected my family in very real ways. On February 19th, there was a scheduled late start for which families did not receive adequate reminder communication. As a result, I had to make last-minute arrangements for my child's transportation, including having a family member bring my child to my workplace. I then had to leave work to take my child to school and explain the situation to my employer. As a working parent, reliable school communication is essential to maintaining employment stability and supporting my family. Most recently, on March 23rd at 12:56 p.m., approximately 1 hour before dismissal, families were notified that students would be released early at 2:10 p.m. for the remainder of the week. Same-day notice of schedule changes does not allow working families adequate time to make safe supervision and transportation arrangements. When I raised this concern, I was directed to locate the information on a calendar. I reviewed available calendars and could not find this information. This response again shifted responsibility onto parents rather than acknowledging the need for clear and more proactive communication. Additionally, there have been instances where documented medical guidance regarding my child's physical limitations was not appropriately acknowledged. When a physician's note related to a student's well-being is not treated with the seriousness it deserves, this raises further concern about how student safety considerations are being prioritized. More importantly, I must address what my child has personally experienced. Since I raised safety concerns, my child has reported repeated overcorrection by staff in both the after-school program and classroom for behaviors that other students are also engaging in without consequence. As a parent, this raises serious concern about fairness and whether my child is being treated differently because I chose to advocate for her safety. I need to be very clear. My parental alarm regarding potential retaliation is now activated. When a parent begins to worry that their child may face negative treatment as a result of raising a legitimate safety concern, that reflects a troubling administrative climate. I am asking the board to review how communication practices, responsiveness, and leadership climate at Eisler are impacting student safety and parent trust. This is not simply about one incident. It is about whether families can rely on school leadership to ensure safety, fairness.
Ms. Parker, can you
transparency,
please
and
bring your comments to a
Thank you.
closure?
I was just about to finish. Thank you.
Mary Ortiz? She has her hand up. Oh, okay. Okay,
Good evening. I'm Mary Ortiz, a parent at Fremont Elementary, a newly voted PTA board member, Parents as Leaders member. I attend and I help with Parent University, parent cafes, family nights, and the most recent LCAP meeting, which I would like to thank you all for providing that data for us on January 24th. I'm also a mom to a first grader and an autistic kindergartner who is in a general education classroom. At the most recent LCAP, we were shown that the data shows that almost half of BCSD students fall in the failing red level 1 categories. Are you satisfied with that? Because I'm not. Even though there were some improvements from fall to winter, higher grade levels in the district will show that a significant percentage still fall in the failing red. So why aren't you doing more for these children? Being an active parent, I have met other parents whose kids are struggling, yet they don't get enough help. So how are you going to help us? The district provides for funding for tutoring September through December, so why not fund tutoring all year? I know that we already asked teachers to go above and beyond for our kids, so why ask them for more, right? I'm proposing that we find solutions together to raise these achievements. Why not hire an agency to teach Saturday school once or twice a month for kids who need tutoring? Utilizing university student teachers, since BCSD already has a contract with CSUB. The LCAP informed us that money is always left over, so why aren't we using it to tutor the entire school year? There's other suggestions that aren't tutoring, like funding to include more intervention support to be available for all grade levels in elementary schools rather than just kinder or first. It's also known that BCSD only offers intervention support to first and kinder for most elementary schools in the district. In the data we received, higher grade levels are the ones that are struggling the most. We have 6th graders that are reading at 2nd grade level or lower, and you're okay sending them off to junior high like that? Why aren't we offering teachers more intervention support with the upper grade levels to better help these students? Students need consistent structures that are district-wide and not just for selective schools. As a parent to an autistic son, I strive and I have fought to keep him in a general classroom. I want to make sure that if he begins to struggle in 4th, 5th, or 6th grade, that he will be offered intervention support in any grade level and not just in kinder or in first. We have parents who attend DAC meetings and are told tutoring and intervention is up to principals. However, when a parent asks for the same exact thing at the APAC and even offers suggestions, just like I am today, she was shut down by Laura Orozco in front of other parents. So who makes the decisions? If board members can give themselves a 280% raise at a job that is basically a side job to them, why can't you offer staff members at least a 5% raise to those who dedicate their time with our children daily? You find this fair? There's so many students who benefit from intervention support.
Ms. Ortiz, can you please bring your comments to a closure?
In all grade levels. So please help us help you find a solution. I'd be expecting a response. Thank you.
Up next, we have Ileana Espinosa.
Thank you so much. Good evening, members of the board, superintendent, staff, and community members. Happy Women's History Month. I'd like to take a moment to recognize and appreciate all the women who continue to advocate and uplift for our communities, especially local community members like Dolores Huerta. I also want to thank the board members, superintendent, and staff here tonight for creating a space for respectful and positive discourse. Now more than ever, it is essential that we model this for our students. I am the daughter of public servants. My mom was a teacher, my dad worked for the state, so I saw firsthand the financial crisis of 2008 and the emotional stresses that come with building community. This is my 5th year in the district. During that time, I have taught 5th grade at Casa Loma, 4th grade at Mount Vernon, and now I teach 2nd grade. Granted, this path, I accept it, but those challenges were hard. In 5 years, I have taught 3 grade levels across 2 schools. I am someone who embraces change and is willing to take on new challenges. However, the number of transitions and demands placed on educators in recent years have been significant and at times overwhelming. Despite these challenges, I have been fortunate to receive strong support from my administrators, our MTSS staff, the SEL teams, district office staff, and curriculum specialists. Unfortunately, not all educators have access to the same level of supports. Many of my colleagues are encouraged to leave the classroom for positions that offer less stress and higher pay. Nationally, roughly 40 to 50% of new teachers leave the profession within the first 5 years. I'm proud to say that I'm still here, but many are leaving due to burnout, heavy workloads, increasing student needs, emotional strain, and the reality of better financial opportunities elsewhere. As I have shared in previous public comments, the cost of living continues to rise at a rapid pace. Salaries of $3,000, $4,000 per month are not enough to cover basic living expenses anymore. That is the reality many educators and many of the people who you employ are facing. My heart is in the classroom. I would not choose to be anywhere else, but when I advocate for my colleagues, I'm advocating for our students. Strong educators support students. Let me rephrase that. Strong people support students. Strong people stand up for students. Strong people learn from students. And strong people protect students. I'm honored to work alongside some of the most resilient, dedicated individuals, many who show up every day committed to growing, learning, and doing what is best for our children. I'm also very fortunate to work with somebody who's been with the district for 40 years and has continuously grown in her profession. Thank you for your time, and thank you to the negotiating team who continue to come to the table and work towards solutions. Thank you to the BISs, social workers, aides, and administrators who have helped get the support needed for my students. And thank you to my second grade team who have really helped me this year with the changes. I have learned so much from people like Miss Katie, Miss Hoover, and Miss Manis, and
Ms.
the staff
Espinosa,
at
can you
Mount
please
Vernon.
bring your comment to a closure?
And at the end of the day, when we invest in educators, we are not just supporting teachers, we are protecting the future of every child in the district. Thank you so much for listening.
Up next, we have Blanche Haynes.
Good evening. My name is Blanche Haynes. I'm a great-grandparent at Fremont. This is Genesis Books. He goes to Fremont. It is my understanding from the LCAP that 88% of our Black kids are reading below second grade level. For me, that is not adequate. It is not the last 5 years. It is not the last 10 years. It's more than 10 years that the 88% of those children are reading below grade level, second grade level. So if I went to the store and bought a loaf of bread for $1, I wouldn't get a loaf of bread. I would get less than a loaf of bread. So if you're getting paid to teach our children, then that means you're not even teaching the whole child. You're teaching less than a loaf of bread. You should be able to understand that that is not adequate. And if you're getting paid to teach our children, if I'm not mistaken, out there on that big foyer, when you come in, you say something about integrity. Where is the integrity for our African-American children? They're not the majority here. And I can't understand, after year after year after year, they're still below second grade level. And you're accountable. Trustees are supposed to be looking out for our children. Trustees are over our money that pay. You get money to teach our children, but yet you're not. Who's accountable for that? How do you sleep at night? What are you thinking about? Year after year, you're going to just allow our kids to fail? 88% of Black children are reading below second grade level. Everybody, when you did the LCAP, everybody was just sitting there like, what's going on? You couldn't understand it. And everybody was looking like, oh, it's okay. But you've been doing it year after year after year. Today I stand before you because this is the first time you're going to probably see my face with this. You'll see my face continually. Not just me, but other parents, because our kids deserve more. Thank you.
Up next, we have Mr. Lance Jacobs.
Good evening. I've got a laundry list and I'll try to be fast and get through everything. First, I'm really pleased to hear from our bargaining team that things have been progressing respectfully and with result at the bargaining table. They don't tell us details, but I do like to hear that. But I'll also tell you, every single time A teacher stops me to talk about beta stuff. The question is, when are we settling the contract? I hear that we're bargaining tomorrow, and I think it's time. The budget is in good shape. I don't think that the teachers are being unreasonable. We need to settle. Also, different note, still money. Teachers who are doing ISPs are telling me they haven't been paid in forever. The payouts on ISPs are extremely slow, like months and months backlogged. So probably the district is going to need looking at either hiring more clerical staff to process them at the district level or reassigning some people or something. But it's been, I mean, Steve could probably hear, yes. So that's what I'm hearing from my teachers who do ISPs. They would like to get paid in a timely manner. At this point, they're thinking it might be their whole summer paycheck. Finally, I am 100% in agreement with our last two speakers. I think that we can and should do more for our kids. I think that tutoring is an extremely effective way to help students achieve. I just sat down to fill out my tutoring paperwork so I can get paid. I'm on my 5th draft of filling out those stupid forms to get a paycheck. I have to fill out the hours that I work for my contract, and then the hours that I did for tutoring, and then the time that I'm over my contract, and then I have to fill out the time that I made up the time that I was tutoring, that I was under contract, and then I have to fill out a similar paper again, and then when I turn it in the 4th time, it's, oh wait, only 1 month per form, go do it over. I've got $400 of tutoring overtime sitting on my desk, and I'm thinking about ripping it up, throwing it in the trash, and canceling my tutoring for the rest of the year. It should not be this annoying to get paid. Like, can I, like, you know, can we just fill out, I tutored this day for an hour, and then like, it's good, and we've got our roster, we took attendance. It's wild. If you haven't seen the paperwork, I mean, I'm gonna look at turning in 6 or 7 pages of paperwork to get paid for tutoring, and I'm on draft number 5. I hate it. Anyway, thank you. I love tutoring. I hate the paperwork. Thank you.
Up next, we have Maria Ornelas.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm with the Bakersfield Museum of Art. This is just a quick update from our 5th grade visual arts program. We will be completing that program the week after spring break. So we have collected half of the 3,000 students participating in this program. So we'll be collecting the second half during that week when we return from spring break. And we'll be displaying all of their artwork at the museum for all of the family members, friends, students, staff that would like to come and support those students. They work really hard. We've been in half of the schools for the fall and then the second half in the spring. So we're really excited to display their work. They really do create amazing work that they created for 12 weeks. They get to choose which art piece they want the public to witness. So this is coming up on May 1st, and I know they pass out the flyers. All of the teachers, principals, and students will be receiving the same flyer. So this is going to be a free event for the whole public. Especially, we are excited to welcome their families and friends. But that was just a quick update. We're really happy. We're going to be completing this school year, and we're excited to start the following school year. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have Miss Kathy Kozlowski.
Sorry, I'm short. Dr. Aguilera Fort, board members, administrators, community members. My name is Kathy Kozlowski, and I'm a 2nd grade teacher at Franklin Elementary. I'm also a longtime member of Alpha Delta Kappa Theta chapter. We are an international sorority of women educators, and we are the sorority that sponsors the Juliet Thorner Awards. The Juliet Thorner Awards have been given to 2 elementary girls and one junior high girl at each BCSD school, and for 60 years. We also give 2 high school graduates of BCSD, girls who are seniors, scholarships. This year, the ceremony will be May 4th here at the BCSD auditorium at 7 o'clock. Dr. Juliet Thorner was a longtime pediatrician here in Bakersfield, and she was friends with many of our sorority members who were principals in the district. And she wanted to set up an award for high-achieving, hard-working young ladies of Bakersfield City School District. Thus, the Juliet Thorner Award was founded. I am proud to be part of this long-enduring award, and I hope that you will be able to attend the ceremony. Again, it will be here on May 4th, 2026 at 7 p.m. here in the auditorium. I believe that the Juliet Thorner Award may be the longest continuing award given to students here in BCSD. And as one of our previous speakers reminded us, March is Women's History Month. So it is an honor to give this award to the future high-achieving women. These girls are amazing, and I bet some of the principals and teachers here in BCSD are members or winners of the Juliet Thorner Award. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Up next, we have Ms. Cari Flores. She has a hand up.
Superintendent and members of the board. My name is Carrie Flores, and I'm here representing some of the members of the Math Textbook Adoption Committee. I have been teaching junior high math here at BCSD for over 18 years. We are at a breaking point. I am here to ask if you are aware that our math textbook adoption process has become a check-the-box exercise that ignores teacher expertise and suppresses critical data. We were promised at the start that middle school, grades 6 through 8, could choose a curriculum independent of K-5. That promise is being systematically dismantled. I want to highlight 3 urgent failures in this process. Number 1, the data wall and hidden rubrics. We moved from our top 6 to our top 4 behind a curtain. When teachers from kindergarten through 8th grade asked to see the raw rubric we ourselves provided, we were met with a flat no from Christine Chapman. I fear that in the pursuit of a unified K-8 contract, the actual instructional needs of our students are being sacrificed for administrative convenience. When data is hidden and presentations are restricted, it suggests the district is more interested in a clean process than a successful one. 2, presentation sabotage. In our most recent meeting with Cengage, the publisher was explicitly told by administration not to show the back-end functionality of their digital programs during their question and answer time. The committee watched as presenters appeared to dodge questions they were actually forbidding from answering. How can we cast an honest vote when the administration is actively hamstringing the competition? 3, the high school disconnect. Our local high schools are looking to shift to integrated math. This requires a specific spiral approach to bridge the gap from 8th grade. Yet our district hasn't even looked at how these finalists align to that shift. The publisher's EdGems is built specifically for this transition. It addresses the massive post-COVID learning gaps with tools that actually fit our 52-minute instructional periods. The solution, it's not just middle school. Even K-2 colleagues are now voicing that they need different materials than upper elementary. The one-size-fits-all model is failing our students. we are asked for the autonomy to pilot EdGEMS at Stern, Washington, and Compton next year, and if the data of that pilot does not show growth, we will pivot. But our students deserve the chance to use the tools that work.
Ms. Flores, can you please bring your comments to a closure?
So the question for the board is, will you allow the committee vote to move forward based on hidden data and restricted presentations, or will you intervene and ensure that our students' needs come before administrative ease? Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Laila Perez.
Okay, buenas tardes, good afternoon, Honorable School Board, Superintendent Aguilar Forta, staff and community. My name is Laila Perez, a kindergarten dual immersion teacher at Harris Elementary. I would like to honor the indigenous ancestors of this region by acknowledging that we are living and working on Yokat's land. It starts with me, and I'm here today as a beta voice for the growing dual immersion program and the dual immersion teachers, students, and families. I'm here because I am a member of the BCSD Multilingual Education Committee. I want to speak to 3 specific topics. 1, MEC membership. 2, DI professional development. And 3, DI program at Curran. Number 1, MEC membership. At yesterday's MEC meeting, a resolution establishing the MEC committee was shared with us, and it will be presented to the board for updates on membership. So my comments and concern at the meeting yesterday with the resolution is that I felt as an elementary teacher that we needed representation, a beta representation for middle school teachers, because they have a different perspective, different issues, it's just totally different night and day between the elementary and middle school. The concerns and implementation are different between middle school and elementary, so I highly recommend a 3rd beta representative voice. Number 2, the dual immersion professional development for our teachers, our dual immersion teachers is so important and valuable. And I speak from experience. I'm a bilingual teacher, ELD, that's my experience. And when they sent me to training the year before I started teaching DI 8 years ago was so valuable. We're lifelong learners. I'm going off my script, okay. Mind you, okay, let me go. The current research and the pedagogy is so important for me, who've had 30 years of pedagogy on bilingual and their current research. It's just not night and day, but there's new learning, especially for our literacy-based ELD during our 30 minutes of English development for our littles. Most new DI teachers are not coming in with that experience. They might be coming in from teaching somewhere else in another program, but not in dual immersion. It's different. I know that at this time the district is struggling with locating DI teachers, and I think we, BCSD, could improve recruitment of DI educators beyond the tab. Perhaps even an ask and reaching out, hey, do you think about being a DI teacher in middle school? Doing that personal connection, you know, and I believe in the 3-point contact. I'm going to jump up to my point number 3. It starts with me to revisit the discussion of the DI program at Curran. I'm going to get emotional because I believe in this program. I believe that when we promised these families 8 years ago that your child was going to go to Curran after they finished at Harris, and then they yanked the, you know, I don't know what the rationale is. No backup. You go to Curran, we're going to lose some of those parents. Some of those parents have to drive. We're in the west side, almost 10 miles to get their child over to Curran. It's 10 miles to continue 7th and 8th grade at DI. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening.
Up next, we have Ms. Pam Bauer. Where is she? Oh. She usually sits in the front.
think I'm gonna have to start bringing a cushion so I can get high enough to get out of these chairs. Anyway, I am here to tell you tomorrow you should be preparing to spend money at Black Angus, whether it's for lunch or dinner. Our foundation is having a fundraiser there, and if you go there to eat in the restaurant or to pick up and take it out, BCSD Education Foundation will be getting a cut of that money, up to 20% depending on the gross sales. What are we using that money for? Well, the thing I'm proudest about is that we're using that part of the money for Camp Keep scholarships. We're sending kids who just, don't have quite enough money to make it. And we're providing, at this point in time, the schools that are participating, the foundation is giving the equivalent of 2 full scholarships to Camp Keep. Now, if they the site gives it to 2 kids, fine. If they spread it out among 5 kids, fine. Every school site gets to decide how they want to spend the money. Our accountability is that they give back to the foundation. Student number 1 received X number of dollars. Student number 2, X number of dollars. We don't want the names. That's none of our business. We just need to know that a student got whatever amount of money. And besides that, we have been giving for years teacher grants for classroom, technology grants, reading grants, back to school grants, all sorts of them. And so we're able to support kids through these teacher grants that will be providing things that the school district, it's beyond the scope of the school district to provide. For example, robotics and the technology, the teachers who want to get into that can apply for a grant, get some money. They can do it as an individual or as a team. And depending on the grant, how they apply for it varies on the amount that we give out. So to me, it's very important. I'm very proud to be on the foundation board still. And I'm hoping, tomorrow on your way home, stop by Black Angus, pick up something to eat, take it on home so you don't have to cook, but you must tell them it's for BCSD Foundation. That's important, otherwise we don't get any credit. And to the parents who are concerned about their students, I totally appreciate that. And I'm just gonna say, if you wanna help the situation, call your state senators and assemblymen and your federal congressmen and senators on an ongoing basis to say, hey, pick up the funding for public schools because they're doing a lot to cut it right now. And especially kids with special needs. The federal government with IDEA said, this is going to be good. They said, we'll provide 40% of it. State prevents 60%. They've never have touched 40%, but the state is still obligated to pick it all up. So anyway, I will stop because my time is up.
Thank you, Ms. Bauer.
Thank you. And I hope to see you guys there tomorrow. I'll be there watching.
Up next, we have the approval of the minutes. You know what, I'm sorry, that concludes our public comments. And moving on to number 6, the approval of the minutes. It is recommended that the minutes for the regular meeting on Tuesday, February 24, 2026, and the special board meeting on March 12, 2026 be approved. Do I have a motion?
This is Chris, so moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to reports of district organizations. Coming up first is La Una. Do we have Mr. Bob Boyd? No. Up next, we have Mr. Comstock with Beta. Bakersfield Elementary Teachers Association.
Is La Una here, that's funny. Good evening, Steve Comstock, President, Bakersfield Elementary Teachers Association. Wanted to say, first of all, thank you for letting me come speak during Women's Month, because I gotta tell you, as a proud father of 2 very strong young ladies that are work for a representative and as a drill sergeant in the military, and some amazing women in my life, and being part of education, which is, I don't know if you've noticed, a few female-dominated profession. I think that we should be champions of this, and we need to make sure that our students understand that we are empowering them to make this better. What I wanted to come talk to you about tonight was a few things. First was communication. I think that we need to make sure that we keep it open and going in both directions. I would like to say that so far this year, my rep council, we have a monthly rep council. You guys have board meetings. We have the same thing. We have our exec board and our rep council. Rep council, basically we have representatives from all the school sites and all the different specialized groups. We've had several visitors come speak to us. We had Dr. Fullenwider come and speak to us. We've had folks from the Educational Foundation come out and speak to us. And most recently, our most recent visitor who came and talked to us for well over an hour was our superintendent. I want to thank him very much for coming out and talking to the teachers. He got them going, and boy, once they got going, they asked some tough questions, and he was not shy. He answered every single one and took every question they had. So I want to thank you very much for coming out. I think that's a great way to build, and I think that we need to continue that. I don't think it should just be us asking you guys to come to us. I think that you need to make sure that you're listening to the voices that are coming out here and asking more of the educational experts that we have in this district. Because we hear parents that are concerned about things like safety. We hear parents that are concerned about things like the educational outcomes of the students. And I don't think we do enough to ask the teachers, what can we do to help you guys be more successful in these things? What can we do to be more successful about keeping safe schools for our students? So please take us as partners. It's what we're there for. I also wanted to comment on a couple of comments that I've heard tonight. We had several people talk about bargaining. I think you might remember last month there was a pretty good demonstration of unity from the CSEA folks and some teachers that came out talking about bargaining. We considered doing the same thing tonight. But what I believe, and we had a hard talk about this, is that when we come out and demonstrate like that, it needs to be for a purpose. Right now, our bargaining has been productive. It's been probably some of the most productive interactive bargaining we've had in quite a long time. And I really want to thank the board and the district for that. A lot of the bargaining team members are right here in the room, which is amazing. I think that we've had some very productive bargaining. We do go back to the table tomorrow. And I'm hopeful that we get very close to closing out most of our articles tomorrow, and we can come away with an agreement before the next board meeting. Because I think that that's where we've been moving, and I just want to make sure that we come up, bargaining teams, with several dates. If we don't finish off tomorrow, that we set up enough dates so that we can finish this before we come to the next board meeting. So hopefully the next board meeting, which is I believe is April 28th, is one where you guys are ratifying an agreement. So please, please, please push in that direction. I heard some people talking about the after-school program. And this is something that I'm going to editorialize a little bit. I've said it once before. I'm going to say it again. I think that we have some incredibly talented people on the classified side of our ledger. We already have academy program specialists that help oversee, but they're overseeing students. And when I say students, I'm talking about high school students in the Boys and Girls Club after school. Those aren't effective leaders for our students. That's not effective for our kids in developing what we want. That's not even close to being something that's a tutoring type of atmosphere. But if we had our own employees there being led and working together in partnership, I think that we could be far more productive, and it could have more of a almost tutoring-like feel to it that might help bridge some of those gaps that we do have. So what I'm saying is, I'm not a big fan of employing the Boys and Girls Club and giving them millions of dollars every year. I think that we have aides and people that would love to do this job. And with the guidance of certificated staff to be there with them, I think that we could have a great team to run after-school programs that are meaningful and not just babysitting clubs. Because that's kind of what they are now, is babysitting clubs. So other than that, I just want to say, please continue to be open. listen to the people that are coming, because the people, I haven't solicited any of these comments. I did say, please get out there and give comments, but didn't say what to talk about. They're very personal and coming from, if you hear one person saying it, understand with over 1,800 educators in this district, you've got dozens, hundreds that are feeling and thinking the same way. So when they're speaking and I'm speaking, it's not my voice, it's not the one teacher's voice, it's the voice of dozens, it's the voice of sites. So please listen, because that's what we're asking for. Take us as partners and we'll work with you, and we'll make this the place where the children comes first and we are truly Team BCSD. Thank you very much. And
Thank you, Mr.
Dr. Aguilera Fort, safe travels.
Thank you, Mr. Comstock. For number 3, we have Dinah May Jimenez for CSCA, California School Employees Association.
Good evening, Superintendent and members of the board. I do agree with Steve that we do have lots of classified that have bachelor's degrees, master's degrees as well. That would be great at helping out in the after-school program. So I do agree with that. My comments tonight, I'd like to begin by thanking the district for a decision to rescind the elimination of the lead bus driver positions was on the board last month. So they are very, very grateful. This decision shows that the district recognizes the value they bring to student safety and smooth operation of transportation services. Recently, I had an opportunity this month to attend the CCA 29th Annual Para-Educator Conference. It was in Ontario, California. It was a 3-day conference. The theme was, I am my student's hero, which perfectly captures the work and dedication of our para-educators. They partner closely with teachers to help students learn, whether providing extra support to those in general education or helping special education students transition from nonverbal to verbal communication. This conference is always inspiring and deeply educational. I believe every paraeducator should have the chance to attend, but I'm grateful that the district continues to fund 10 members each year. That investment makes a real big difference. Now it's negotiations. The update is we're down to just 3 remaining articles, and the revisions are minimal, I believe. Article 3, CSCA rights. The Article 3.3, District Mail and Email Services, CSCA would like to remove the language that constitutes a waiver on our CSCA rights. Our legal team, BCSD's legal team, have gone back and forth on that. We'll see what happens on Friday at negotiations. On Article 3.6, release time for chapter president and other chapter 48 unit members. Historically, the district has never invoiced us for release time when union representatives assist members during disciplinary meetings. However, about a year ago, we were informed this would change. We would now be billed for that time. We are seeking to clarify and resolve this issue so that our long-standing practice continues. One that supports fair representation without added financial burden to the chapter. Article 12, transportation. Both sides initially had concerns about adjustments to route start and end times and the notification process for changes of more than 15 minutes. After thoughtful discussions, we've reached common ground and are optimistic about finalizing this language soon, hopefully on Friday. Article 20, salary. Last month, many of our members held a friendly demonstration to draw attention to the lack of movement on wage negotiations. During our last session on March 17th, I truly thought we were close to an agreement. The district proposed a 2.5 on-schedule salary increase. Progress we appreciate. However, CECA is requesting to keep the Me Too clause in our contract. Language that ensures if another bargaining unit receives a higher raise, our members receive the same. This clause has been in our contract for the past 8 years, yet it continues to be struck by the district in each proposal. Our intent is not unreasonable. We are not asking for the same kind of raise recently granted to the board members, 23%. But we do ask for fairness and equity. Classified employees deserve equal respect and recognition for the essential work we do every day. The Me Too clause exists to maintain that equity and to ensure that all employee groups are treated with the same value and dignity. This wording is included because there is a perception among our members that the district tends to prioritize the needs of certificated employees over those of classified employees. The language is intended to ensure that classified staff receive equitable consideration. Thank you for your time and continued commitment to the staff and students of BCSD. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have board member comments. First, we have Dr. Chris Crisboon.
Thank you so much all for being here this evening. I know it's a really crazy, hectic time of year, so having 12 people come out and share their concerns with us really shows the process is working, and I really do, I take a lot of notes and reflect a lot on what we talk about. So I just want to say thank you again to the people who came out. For those of you who come to any of our previous board meetings, you know that I read a lot. So this year I set a goal that not only am I going to read 100 books, which is what the kids challenged me to last year, but this year I'm also going to read one banned book every month. And I asked folks, could you send me a banned book that won't make me cry? Thank you to the folks who actually pay attention. A couple of BCSD teachers sent me stuff. So next month, I'm supposed to be reading, what is his name? I don't know, I have it on my list and I forgot to write it down. But this month I read, my banned book was Queer Here, There, Everywhere, and I did not cry, which was great. So thank you for a book suggestion that didn't make me cry. My favorite book I read this month so far was The Rhetoric of Dolores Huerta. And for anyone who, it's written by a communication professor and I'm a communication professor, but it not only has the transcripts of powerful speeches she's given throughout the movement in the Valley, but it gives context to what was happening in those moments. So one of the chapters begins by talking about sitting at the bargaining table across from some of the most powerful and wealthy, affluent growers in the San Joaquin Central Valley and their lawyers, and dressed in jeans, a union t-shirt, and breastfeeding a baby. And I was like, I haven't even started reading the speech yet, and already I have chills. So if you get a chance, it's a really great book celebrating a really remarkable woman. I just wanted to mention a couple things we've done since we saw you last, because I really was in awe. The first, I was with Mr. Ager, our fellow board member. We went to the Standards Festival that's held where I work at Bakersfield College. And, I love our music programs in every way, shape, and form, but the Standards Festival is really cool because The kids do a couple songs, and then an expert comes up on the stage and gives them a couple tips, and then the kids try a bar of music again. And it is amazing in 15 minutes what an expert can do with these kids. Like the sound, the quality, the confidence transforms that quickly. And I don't always get to see, like tonight we were brought to our awareness again that the district has had this legacy of poor literacy scores. And so sometimes we get hit with the data that, you know, shows us where we're at, but we also have many small moments of great pride where we see the students grow by milestones in the tiniest moments. So the Standards Festival was that for me this week, and thank you so much to Mr. Stone and your team for what you do there. Also, wowza to transportation. There was the Safe Routes to School rally, and they won again. They always win, you guys. They win everything we send them to, and so I just think they're really remarkable in so many different ways. Lastly, we went to the CAVE conference, and I went to more sessions. I literally was like, I want to talk about everything, but it was too much. So I wrote a report and I attached it to the minutes. If you want to see what was exciting for me to visit with parents, alongside our staff, alongside our teachers. It was my first time going there to the California Association of Bilingual Educators, and it was such a profound experience because it's very different than what we traditionally go to. And it gave me a lot of thoughts and insights on not just how we approach our dual language learners, but how those ideas can work across the curriculum for all of our learners was really valuable for me. So thank you so much. Happy Women's History Month, and si se puede.
Thank you, Dr. Chris. Up next, we have Ms. Malley.
Okay, very quick for me tonight. I also just wanted to comment on, I also had the opportunity to attend CABE for the very first time, which was very special. The energy of educators there is just always incredible, and it's not all just coming from Lila Perez. Her energy and excitement for bilingual education is just, it gives me chills. She's just so persistent. I love watching her work with the kids. So one highlight I did want to mention was seeing our superintendent in his role as the CABE president. So watching him lead, you know, essentially this giant convention and represent our district on this statewide platform made me really proud, and it reaffirmed that we have a leader who's the right leader for us, who understands multilingual education and also models the values that we want to elevate in our schools, which is collaboration, inclusion, and deep respect for every student's linguistic and cultural identity. Again, I'm so happy I went. I left filled with inspiration, and it reminded me that every student's home language is an asset, which we need to keep forefront and center and not a barrier. It made me more committed to ensuring our district stays on this path, which I know we are. I know we're making great progress. And I'm excited to bring back these strategies around cultural engagement, family partnership, and supporting our dual language and EL programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Malley. Up next, we have Mr. Egger.
Thank you. Dr. Chris Cruz-Boone mentioned about the Standards Festival, it was both strings, choir, and band, and it was just remarkable on the dedication of those students, but also the dedication of our educators, our band, our music teachers that put into that, and the kids were enjoying every moment of it. Then I went to the kickoff to Garza and Harding was going to perform at Knott's Berry Farm. So it was really exciting to see. Those are the kids that will be next year, some of them, at the Standards Festival. And so it's just really proud to see that. Also, I attended the Nichols spring concert. And so I was just very proud to see our music program and the students' dedication and the parents coming out to support, you know, our their children with the music. Another thing that I attended was the track and field meet on Saturday at South High. I want to thank all the staff members that volunteered their time. It seemed very well organized, going super well. You know, the bus drivers, you know, everybody had an integral part in making that a success. And I appreciate all the dedication that our staff shows to making a program like that successful. Also, next month is Autism Awareness Month. And I know that I've gotten invited to a couple of events that's happening at schools. And I just ask, you know, parents and students that are general ed, you know, to help let our children understand children with autism. You know, there's so many schools that these children are around. You know, it's so prevalent. We had just talked to the new principal at Frank West, and she was saying she has 8 classes of autism at her school. So we just need to make sure that we educate everybody of who these children are. You know, it's important. They have a purpose, and we just need to understand. You know, and I know it's hard for little kids to understand, but I think it's us as adults that need to set that example. And it's very important. And, you know, that's, you know, a month of April is Autism Awareness, so that's something that you might keep in the back of your mind when you're talking to students and stuff about those children that are a little different, you know, but they are, you know, they're fun-loving kids, just like everybody else. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Eggert. Up next, it would be me. Well, there's a few things that I have in mind, but I wanted to start off with this. Our district is saddened by the recent allegations regarding Cesar Chavez. We are taking the time to thoughtfully review and process what this means for our schools and community. We are evaluating all options regarding the name of Cesar Chavez Elementary. Any decision will be made with careful consideration and in the best interest of our students, staff, families, and community. We want to be clear that we deeply value and support farm workers and their families, as well as the ongoing efforts to advance dignity, equity, and fair working conditions. Those values remain central to who we are as a district. We remain committed for fostering safe, respectful, and inclusive learning environments for all. We will continue to advocate for and support our students, staff, and community as we move forward. A couple of things that I wanted to share was that I was also able to attend CABE, the California Association for Bilingual Education Conference, along with many other parents, staff, administrators, and I am thankful for the Kern High School District for taking parents that actually have students in both BCSD and the Kern High School District. I think this was like the biggest amount of BCSD representation there has ever been in CABE, right? That would be a Ms. Orozco question.
I think in the past we used to send all of our DLAC previous years. I know when I was a teacher, I went every year. When I was a DI teacher, we all went. So, but recent years, yes.
Yes.
You said lots of parents.
Yes.
Lots of parents. Oh, teachers too. Back when I was a DI teacher, yeah. We
Right.
went every year.
I didn't realize.
But of recent, I agree with you.
Yes. I didn't realize how many people were out there from Kern County, period. And it was like, oh, Bakersfield.
Tehachapi.
Oh, Tehachapi was.
Greenfield.
Yeah, there was just, if you don't know what CABE is, just Google it. There's a lot of great information on there. Also, I wanted to share that I went as a chaperone with the Harding and Garza music students. They performed at Knott's Berry Farm. I made new little friends. I learned that while on the bus, mind you, I have kids on my own and none of them were in that field trip, right? And one of them just reminded me of one of my kids. And I said, this kid has to play the percussion. I can almost bet on it. And sure enough, when the teacher came over and I said, he plays the percussion. Yeah, how do you know? Same attitude, same, just. So I learned that it's a specific kind of student that will play a certain instrument by the way they are. And just having conversations with kids from both Hardin and Garza was a really eye-opener. And I would invite that, hey, maybe Dr. Fullenweider can go as a chaperone one day to one of these. Right? We have very talented staff in our district. But it was a great experience, a really good one. To see that some of these kids have never left Bakersfield, that have never left Kern County, had never seen Pyramid Lake, makes you really appreciate the times that you drive through traffic in there, whether it's going north or south. Anyhow, another thing I wanted to share was I also attended part of the committee for the Multilingual Education Committee meeting. And I appreciate your your suggestion on our bylaws. That's something that we'll have a conversation with cabinet and our rest of the board. Many of the people that were there attended CABE. There was quite a few. And what I really appreciate is what Ms. Paris shared with everybody. And it's something so simple that it can be an icebreaker. An icebreaker at a family function, an icebreaker in a parent center, an icebreaker with just, a new group of teachers. And I actually wanted to share that because it's really quick, but you really get to know somebody in just a few seconds. And it's actually longer, but they did it short enough so that everybody or anybody that wanted to share can have the opportunity. And it's called A Person in My Life. And it was, I hear, I pretend, I smell, I feel, I wish, I am. So you just kind of have to fill in the blanks, right? So mine was, I hear her laughter down the hallway. I pretend to be okay when she notices I'm overwhelmed. I smell her. She still has that baby smell. I feel her breathing in my neck on the nights she crawls into my bed. I wish I could pay her college and all her expenses. I am her mother. And that was just, other people shared theirs, but it just gives you a little insight, you can see through the window of what it is in my life. So I would highly recommend Ms. Perez shares it with everybody. Reach out to her and she can give you the full length, and that's something she picked up at CABE. And I will conclude with, please go to our parent centers and don't forget that we have our wellness centers ready to provide services for our students, not just medical, but if your children need glasses. Thank you. Up next, we have Mr. Fuentes.
All right, thank you. It's been said twice already, maybe more than that, but wanted to shout out the music program that we have here at BCSD. Really doing wonderful things. So Mike Stone went to a concert at Nichols with Mike. Really, really great stuff that our music program is doing, as well as our music teachers our art teachers, really, really important staff that we have. As always, thank you to the commenters who came out tonight. We hear these things once in a while from emails, grocery store line, just running into people. But to hear it here at our board meeting and have record of that is really important. So I appreciate every single one of you who came out to speak tonight. And that'll be it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fuentes. Up next, we have Dr. Carlene.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, everyone. First, I want to acknowledge, I think it's important to name things when they are stated. The concerns that the parents brought today, and specifically, I'll be very clear about the performance of our African American students and the data that was again shared with us, and it is the district data. These are the reflection of our students at this point, but they are not the reflection of the potential, the brilliance, and the talent of our students. So we need to also be clear about that. If I will connect this with one key piece that we all love and appreciate and respect, which is the talent and the brilliance shown during the different performances of our students. The music program and what these kids are able to do, the way they read the notes and perform, tells you that this is not about not having the capacity. So the commitment is really to figure out how we intentionally address this. Because what is the reflection is that somehow we have not been able to figure out. Somehow we have not been able to tackle this and to address it. And if we don't name it, then we'll continue. And then will be LCAP after LCAP or whatever names those plans get at any point in time. So I just want to be clear about the commitment. And I also want to say the board intentionally had addressed that need. And so it is a commitment from what we call the governance team. And I know that the team here is also thinking about that, but we have to go beyond the thinking and we need to figure out concrete actions. Hopefully by next month, we will start bringing concrete areas of work. And Mr. Comstock, I'll take your word. And I will connect with the beta meeting. Let's figure out, we need to get something out of the engagement and consultation with teachers because this needs to be addressed. And just listening, it breaks my heart to just see a grandma with a child, a vivid example of what is the future of my child. So please know that we are going to be addressing intentionally. We met already with the Closing the Achievement Gap Committee, which is intentionally designed, and it wasn't designed by me. It was before last year and the year before, I believe, by former superintendent and the staff. And now I am continuing that work. And we are putting some concrete pieces above and beyond the plan. So we need to put concrete strategies and name the people that will enact those and how we will make sure that there is accountability to it so that the families and the students experience that directly. So we can promise, but I think we need to figure out the action, and that's the commitment that we are making. So with that, I want to connect with the meeting that I had with Beta Council representation. Thank you for welcoming me. Thank you for an hour of interactions and questions, and very lively interaction. One cannot address what one doesn't know. And it is important. And we may not be able to agree on everything, and that's okay. That's part of the deal. And we may not be able to provide the solution that you might be asking at any given moment. And our responsibility, above and beyond listening, is to figure out the solution and the response. And at times we will have to meet in the middle, and that's okay too. But what I do appreciate is getting some data and some info that otherwise I wouldn't be able to get it as clearly as I did get at that moment. So thank you, teachers, thank you. And as I said, I will go back. So we'll see how it goes. But thank you so very much. Thank you. And I want to close by congratulating, thanking every single woman that have made the space for us possible. We stand in the shoulders of women. Moms, grandma, great-grandma, they made this space powerful. And I'm lucky to be working with such a wonderful, courageous group of women across the board, across the district, whether it is at the meeting with CSCA, when those women come ready to just say what they need to say and how they feel, whether it is with the team here, with cabinet, like the teachers, every single woman. I learned from very early ages the power of women through the power of my mom. She taught me what is it to actually be that woman that loves, that cooks, that reads, that it still comes back from work and it still has to work again. So thank you to each and every one of you for giving us the space to be here. Teachers, staff at the site level, you're going on Friday, taking a spring break. Enjoy. Do a lot or do nothing. Take the time to relax, to unwind, because boy, when we come back, those next 4 months will be intense, from testing to every single other piece. So let's take the time and enjoy. Thank you, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Carlin. The board will now take a 5-minute recess. This, and we have the Assistant Superintendent, Ms. Laura Orozco.
Good evening, President, Ms. Guerrero Salgado, and trustees and guests. First, I want to start off with thanking all the educational partners. You know, we have a lot of meetings, and so I do appreciate all the feedback from all the partners and the different meetings. So I wanted to start with that.
What is your note?
So for tonight's session or presentation, I'll present some feedback from Parent University, our parent committees, our professional associations. Our student council is not till April, so I'll bring that information after. And then the LCAP survey results as well. So for our parent university, I'm going to go over some major themes, and then I'm going to go over some of the mentions that came up before that as well. So for our parent university, our major themes were communication between schools and parents, tutoring supports for students, which we came out again tonight, student safety and school environment, that also came up tonight, that was also for parent university, academic support in the classroom, after school, and enrichment programs. For additional feedback, it was expanding access to parent university, and so parent cafes, wanting to do different times for the parent universities, parent cafes. So a lot of the parents did appreciate the parent universities at the school sites because they have easier access, because the sessions are at their school sites, and so they can get to their sessions at their school sites closer to their homes. Continue to have our parent centers that I think Dr. Aguilera Ford and I walked into every single educational partner during Parent University, and this is the one that came up every single time. Improve consistency across sites in communication, academic support, English learner services, and SEL implementation. We also, there was some discussions regarding strengthening the bilingual access through staffing, translation, just making sure that we have a different staff to be able to translate for our parents. Strengthening belonging and inclusion, including outreach, representation, special education inclusion that came out in many of our groups, and culturally responsive engagement. For our district advisory committee, we had 36 participants, and the themes for our DAC, our district advisory committee, was they really appreciated the FACE department, the different liaisons at the school sites, our reps here at the district office, DD. They also like the science, the technology, engineering, and math, the STEAM at different schools or STEM programs. Continue with tutoring. We have currently during the fall time, we had our teachers training for the 14 hours, and so they would like that to continue. They really appreciate that tutoring. Continue with school safety. There was, again, you'll hear the same ones for different groups, and making sure that we build relationships, that how can we ensure that all of our staff build relationship with kids. So they mentioned not just our teachers, but also our custodians have really good relationships with our kiddos, our cafeteria managers, our CPALs, just making sure that we continue to focus on building relationships. So additional feedback for our DAC was add test-taking strategies. Some of our parents think that some of their students sometimes have a hard time when they're taking an exam, and can we add some of those test-taking strategies for our students? Also, again, ensure we keep our parent centers, continue with school site beautification, just making sure that we continue. Some schools have certain, like they have plants in some schools that the kids take care of, so just ensuring that our schools are welcoming. Increase parent volunteers at schools, and appreciate the support staff at the different school sites. In this case, it was our reading intervention specialists, our campus supervisors as well. That was some of the mentions. So our community advisory committee, this is for our special education parents. We had about 18 participants. And so our major themes is increased recognition of special education students. So this was making sure that they're part of the regular recognition assemblies for our students. So making sure that they're part of it as well. Increased social emotional learning lessons in class, providing sensory support for our students, more inclusion opportunities for special education students, enhancing communication between schools and parents. For additional feedback, one of the asks was to equip our staff with training on sensory needs of special education students. How can we add that for all of our staff? Access to visit student classrooms and or to volunteer in class. Mentoring program to support student needs. Continue to be inclusive of special education parents and decision making. One of the things that they did appreciate is making sure, that we go out and we ask for their feedback in regards to the LCAP process. And then one comment was about the gang prevention support for our schools. For our district English Learner Advisory, our DLAC committee, we have about 35 participants. So what some of the items that were brought up was being able to strengthen academic support, including tutoring and reading intervention, increase teacher effectiveness and accountability, particularly regarding grading practices, a robust social emotional learning and mental health support with a focus on trauma and anxiety identification. And this was also mentioned in terms of test taking as well, that some of the kids have test anxiety. Enhanced logistical support and training for our FACE programs, improved communication with parents, including timely progress reports and information on student performance and academic support programs. So additional feedback was addressing challenges in communication with progress reports. This is usually our teachers send out 4 weeks before report cards, they send the progress reports in terms of regarding grades. Increase the frequency of informational sessions, especially parent conferences for English learner parents, focusing on topics like reclassification, having specific meetings on reclassification. Expand social emotional learning supports to include counseling for parents and training on how to identify student trauma. And we do have the Cook Center this year that will be addressing that. That was something that came up also last year, and so we have now the Cook Center addressing that as well. Ensure the parent center logistics are addressed, including providing a sanitary bathroom facility. So some of our parent centers, we do have restrooms, but some of them, we don't have them. We just don't have every parent center with a bathroom. We would love to, but at this time, we don't have all of them with a restroom. So our District African American Parent Advisory Council, or DAPAC, we had about 14 participants. Here was tutoring, it was a number one. And we do have plans in terms of how do we address the tutoring for all of our students. We will be working with Dr. Aguilar Ford and providing a plan for tutoring. Again, we did provide the 14 hours this year. We do want to continue with that moving forward. We will work with our associations to make sure that we can provide that. Continue with parent resource centers, better communication of services offered. One of the things that they asked is sometimes maybe our parents don't know the services that we have. So what is it? How can we get better at communicating that? And so we need to increase our communication. Provide lessons on positive behavior expectations and positive incentives for attendance, so more incentives for attendance. So some of the additional feedback, they would like more field trips, strengthen academics, a focus on math, offer Saturday schools, and they wanted to, there's a requirement to be a parent as leaders, and so they wanted us to revisit the requirements to become a parent leader for our FACE department. So our professional associations, we had about 14 that attended. So continue with tutoring by teachers. This is the 14 hours that at the beginning of the school year. Effective math teaching, tutoring, or support, bringing back math. Focus on mitigating student behavior. Add academic sessions for parent university. And we did that this year where there's going to be 5 sessions to, this was brought up by associations last year. And so this year, providing the support for our parents, what are the standards by grade level, for example, that our parents would need to know if you're a first grade student, letting our parents know what are the standards in first grade, what are things that they can help with. And I know there was 2 schools that we visited last week and this week, and they were sharing how they share these resources with parents so they can do it at home with their kiddos. Be more inclusive of the different cultures in our schools. For additional feedback, student voice for library school selection. So we do have that. Schools have a QR code that they can ask for a different selection, or they can talk to the librarian so they can have school choice. Kids always want school choice with books, which is fantastic. That's a great thing to have for kids to ask for what they want. And one of the things that comes up every year with our students is that they want to be able that, even if they're like an AR level of 8. If they want a level 10, let them pick a level 10 and not limit them to what they want to select. Increased club funding for schools and middle school, junior high schools. Improved training for teachers on multi-tier system of supports. Process to include special education qualification. Extended learning program to include more BCSD staffing rather than outside agencies, and we heard that tonight. And parent square communication is positive. Our associations do appreciate the parent square communication. Our engagement survey, our LCAP community engagement, we had about 280 participants or that responded to our survey. The first one is focused on academic supports, making sure that we continue with our academic supports, student wellness, student safety, parent engagement, increasing parent engagement, making sure that our school climate and staffing, that they feel or that we create welcoming environments at the district office as well as all the school sites. So additional feedback was basically, again, academic support. Parents want stronger academic systems. This includes continuity of individual education plans, making sure that we're providing those services to our families. Student wellness and social emotional learning continue to support the SEO, not only in Perry University, but lessons within the classroom. Student safety, that's recurring, making sure that our students are safe. Parent engagement, just seeking a wide variety of parent session topics to include, and we're constantly working on how to make that better, but we will continue to also offer more supports for that. And school climate and staffing, just they want a stronger relationship as our parents with our staff, our teachers, our principals, our campus supervisors, our CPALs, just making sure that we increase our relationships with our staff. So, you know, as we went through all of this, just some of the major things is, one, to me, it came out is improving our communication. You know, we are a large district and we can always get better at our communication. The tutoring piece came, again, you know, was very loud and clear that we need to make sure that we develop a plan for that. School safety, of course, all of our schools have a campus supervisor. How can we make sure that our schools are safe? And then the social emotional learning was a recurring theme in all of our groups to make sure that we continue with our social emotional learning. So these were the major themes. This is our first set, and then as we start to develop the plan, I'm always accepting feedback, emails through different meetings from all sorts of community partners. And as I bring the LCAP, we continue to provide and change the LCAP according to the needs of the district. So that was my
question.
Mm-hmm.
I know you've been with the district for a while. Is there a time where we had more than the 14 hours of tutoring after school? Has there been a point, or is that kind of the natural point where maybe teachers aren't wanting because they're tired at the end of the day and they don't want to do that year round?
So teachers can tutor anytime. What we had is we had an MOU where their 14 hours was at a certain pay.
Okay.
And so that was something that our associations would like back and our teachers would like back, but they can tutor anytime. We've always provided that opportunity to continue. We did have either last or a couple years, we had Brain Fuse, and it was a tutoring platform, virtual. But at the beginning, when it was kind of new, there was the students participated, but as the time progressed, the student didn't participate. We did have one little guy at downtown that was the one that did it like for the whole year. But as you know, as we look at metrics and usage, you know, if kids aren't using it, we just don't want to keep paying for something that's not being used.
No, for sure. But I mean, so if a teacher wanted to tutor Monday through Thursday, they could?
Mm-hmm, absolutely, yeah. Usually Wednesdays, they don't. That's usually like a PLC or when they meet as a team. But usually Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Do you find that there's more of a request than teachers are able to provide for students?
There's more what? I'm sorry?
Is there more of a request from families and parents for tutoring than the teachers are able to provide?
That I don't know. That would have to be at the school site. We can inquire.
Well, and I know there was like specific, dovetailing off what Rick was saying, I know there's specific rules on like how many days you have to go to extended learning in order to like not lose your eligibility. Are those two things at odds at all? Or if the kid is in extended learning, they could say like, I don't want to go to play practice today, I really need help with math.
And
not be
actually,
punished.
the ELP allows us, when the students, for example, want to go to tutoring, they can go to tutoring, and we know they're at tutoring, then they can go to ELP after. There's no, negative effect on that, so our students can do that. The ELP allows it to do that.
I think we should, speaking of communication, I'm not sure that that's something all ELP
Okay.
parents, since we're new to ELP and the rules and attendance.
Okay.
I think there is some confusion about
Oh,
that.
where they think, oh, okay.
The two are at odds with
Oh,
one another.
absolutely. Okay, absolutely.
Just based on what I've, observed, like at Voorhees, when they go to tutoring, the teacher does walk the students to the ELP coordinator and say, these students are in the ELP, and then she walks the rest to the front of the gate. So they do communicate. It all just depends on the school side. Because also at Stern with Joey, he was doing tutoring as well. So they knew that he was there. He would go check in and say, hey, I'm going to tutoring, I'll be back. And then they would just more or less know the time to expect them back in ELP. So I guess it just depends on the school side, because I know from my experience, they do communicate and they are checked in.
We can expand the communication, absolutely, yeah.
I think the two programs communicate with one another. My argument is, I don't think the parents understand. Like, I don't think all the parents understand kids, that those two programs are not mutually exclusive. I think the parents don't realize their kids could be going to tutoring.
Like if they sign a permission slip, they might be dropped from the other program.
100%.
That makes sense.
Again,
We
it
can
depends on
absolutely
the school
communicate
side.
that with ELP kiddos, yeah.
Centrally, we can. again,
Absolutely.
Yes, yes, and yes, and centrally, we can actually provide a
Absolutely.
platform so that unites all the different perspectives.
I do want to say I liked how even though all these different parent groups and other groups had different ideas for certain cohorts of students, I mean, there are things that are beneficial to all students, so. 100%.
Thank you, Ms. Orozco.
This is a tremendous amount of work. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Moving on to number 3, the administrative hearing panel action. It is recommended that the administrative hearing panel's recommendation be approved. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, we'll do a roll call. Mr. Fuentes?
Yes.
Mr. Eggert?
Yes.
Dr. Chris?
Yes.
Ms. Melly?
Yes.
And I myself am a yes. Thank you. Moving on to Assistant Superintendent Business Services Report, Ms. Gladden.
Oh, I'm sorry. Took it with me.
You just wanted to be up here so bad, you couldn't give it up.
No.
Good evening. Well, thank you for the opportunity to present to the board, staff, and community the highlights of our second interim report, which is coming before the board for approval tonight. We will review the second interim, changes in revenues and expenditures since first interim, updates to the multi-year projections, the district's total operating budget, including all operating funds, and our certification status. Second interim provides an update on the district's financial position. It is a snapshot in time. Specifically, it's a snapshot of the district's budget and financial status as of January 31st every year. Why do we do a second interim report? We are required to certify in writing whether the district has the ability to meet our financial obligations within the current fiscal year, and then based on forecasts, whether we have the ability to meet our financial obligations in the next 2 upcoming fiscal years as well. So focusing on general fund revenues, looking at the bar in the center, we can see that the vast majority of the district's revenues come from LCFF sources. So approximately 66%. That is the number that we would love to see moving the most in a positive direction. Unfortunately, when we look at the table to the left, our LCFF was really stable between first interim and second interim with just over $24,000 increase. Where we really see a change from first interim to second interim is on our restricted side of the budget. So we have an improvement of about $5.6 million in our revenues. That improvement is derived primarily from other state and other local funding sources, which you can see on the bar chart is the smallest portions of our revenue. Specifically, the largest changes and the significant portion of the improvement in our revenues were derived from the art and music in our schools. The CDE just released in February, so last month, the current year allocations, and so BCSD is seeing an increase of 1.2 million from what we previously were anticipating. Again, on the restricted side of the budget, we are anticipating receiving an additional $4 million this year from the Department of Health Services and Medi-Cal. This is from additional services and seeing our wellness centers and our health-related staff really providing services directly to students and getting our billing system in place and really recovering the maximum amount possible from that. And then we also have about a $200,000 increase on student behavioral health incentive programs. Then switching over to looking at our general fund on the expenditure side, this is an improvement to the budget as well, a decrease in expenditures, so reduction in spending of 4.4 million. Again, this falls on the restricted side of the budget. We don't see a significant change on the unrestricted side, but what we see is we see our school sites and our departments reallocating funds based on whatever their educational priorities are at the school site. And then we also have two significant program changes, which are the bulk of the $4.4 million reduction in expenditures. And that is the district looking at spending trends and observing that we have $4.7 million in our Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant budgeted in the current year. That is a multi-year funding source. That amount is was budgeted as a first interim for professional development, specifically in the SEL category, but it is not occurring at the pace that was anticipated, and so that will be written into next year's LCAP for actions that will occur in 26-27. So that is the district observing that the spending is not happening at the pace that was anticipated, and that's reallocating those dollars into the next year. And again, same to the tune of about $300,000, a mix between federal and local restricted program expenses, having a slight increase, so slightly offsetting that 4.7 million decrease in spending to net the $4.4 million change. Again, looking in the dark blue, medium blue, light blue on our donut chart there, we see that our staff salary and benefits continue to be the district's highest expense or line items within our budget. And so when we see the reallocation, and again, knowing that the 4.7 for the Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant that we are moving to the next fiscal year was for PD, that those are in salary and benefit categories. And so that will move forward into next year's LCAP, may stay within that same category, or depending on what the needs assessment is, may end up in a different action or category. So as of second interim, it's interim reports in general are a good time to update the district's financial projections, and we update our multi-year projections. And specifically, assumptions that are reviewed and revised during this process are our staffing levels and needs in the future based on what our enrollment projections are in the future years, and reviewing our spending trends and updating expenditures to follow those trends. Also, this second interim report is as of January 31st. What significant thing happens in January? The governor releases his January budget proposal, which gives us assumptions for the current year as well as the two out years that are included within the multi-year projection. Significantly to that, there were revised COLA changes that were released in the governor's January budget proposal, and they were not favorable for the LCFF formula. For the 26-27 year, there was a reduction in the anticipated COLA down to 2.41%, which has a negative impact on our LCFF projection now of about 2.5 million. In 27-28, there was a downgrade in the projected COLA to 3.06%, which has an even more significant impact of about 4.08 million. When we look at our LCFF revenue, we see that adding a COLA on the LCFF base grants, we would hope to have a bigger gain and impact from those COLAs, but what we actually have occurring because of our declining enrollment and also because of the decrease in the anticipated COLAs that were released on the governor's January budget, we see that the gains that we would hope to see in year-over-year increases on our LCFF formula are kind of offset or reduced down because of our declining enrollment status and because of the rollback or the decrease on the anticipated LCFF base grant COLA amounts. On the bottom of the chart, I provide this for informational purposes, but I think it's kind of helpful to see in combination when we're looking at the past LCFF entitlement amounts in prior years, as well as our projected LCFF entitlements for 26-27 and 27-28, to look in comparison to what our student population change was during that time. So on this slide, it also shows the enrollment change. Unfortunately, we are in the red. Post-pandemic forward, we have seen significant decreases in our enrollment, a loss of 955 students this year. We are projecting ongoing decline, but not to the severity that we saw this year. The COLAs are on there for the LCFF formula, as well as in the 22-23 year, we also received an augmentation to the LCFF formula, which was greatly appreciated. In 21-22, there was a formula change to LCFF, which increased the concentration grant by 15%, and that's an ongoing change. And then in 22-23 was the first year that the LCFF formula included a TK add-on component, which continues to grow, significantly grew by formula change in the LCFF this year and will continue to grow by COLA in future years. It's really just more informational. Okay, so now looking at our multi-year projections, and we'll start out looking at the revenue side. And so what do we see? We see that in each successive year, we're having a decrease in our revenues. And why is that? With our federal, other state, and other local, with our restricted programs, we have high balances from when we received all of the pandemic relief dollars. We spent those first. We tucked away our ongoing restricted, our federal dollars that had longer spending timelines on them. As we spend those down, those carryover balances that were generated were one time. As we see those being depleted, we're restoring back to a more normalized annual funding levels for our federal, other state, and local revenues. So spending down those balances. On the LCFF formula, we do see increases, thankfully, but as I shared on the previous slide, the gains from the COLA are slightly diminished from our declining enrollment status, and then we took the hit, the blow of the decrease in the LCFF COLA rates. When we look at the expenditure side, no surprise, as our revenues decrease, our spending is projected to also decrease, so your less dollars available, your spending will decline as well. But that is still a very hardy spending level. Currently, our general fund, as of second interim, is just over 700,000. That'd be crazy. 700 million. Pardon me. Big difference in expenditures, going down to 699 million first out year and 698 in the second out year. And so looking at the net change in the fund balance of a deficit on each of those years, but remember back to what my comment on the revenues, that these are carryover funds on our federal and state programs. And so as we carry those over, those are in our savings, those are in our reserve, and we're spending those down. When you spend down your carryover grant dollars, you see a deficit because you're spending out of the reserve. Okay, and then looking, so we're gonna carry the change in the fund balance, that concept forward on the next slide. Starting out, it's helpful to break out the general fund balance by the unrestricted portion and the restricted portion because we have very different spending constraints on those two categories of dollars. So starting out with first row with the beginning balance, the net increase or decrease that we saw on the bottom line of the previous slide brings us to an updated ending balance. And when we look, we can see again on the restricted side, we project to use up all of the balances in our restricted programs to provide the services that those dollars were granted to us for, or the supplies or the activities that those grant dollars were authorized to the district for. On the unrestricted side, I'll focus you in on that middle line because that's the annual change. In the current year, we have a deficit on our unrestricted general fund of $16.7 million as of second interim. We have worked very hard on cost reductions to get to a break even as of today for 26-27 unrestricted general fund, but in 27-28 we are projected to be back at a deficit of 5.3 million. So the ending balance can be further broken out into different categories. And these are important distinctions because, again, there are very different uses on how that portion of the ending balance can be used. When we look at the portion that is circled in orange, that is what is considered the district's available reserves. That is base available dollars that can be used for any need of the district, one-time in nature because they're one-time dollars. That includes the 3% reserve for economic uncertainties that a district of our size is required to maintain, as well as an additional unassigned balance. The portion that is circled in blue is restricted and committed. That means that there are strings attached to how we receive those dollars and how they can be used. Revolving cash and stores. Stores is store stock. It's the inventory in our warehouse. It's goods, it's tangible things. It's not dollars to be spent. The revolving fund represents $89,000. That's our payroll revolving fund when we have to issue an emergency check. That's our revolving fund when we give travel advances to employees or we have to pay the postage meter. Legally restricted are grants and entitlement balances. So those, again, restricted programs that were given to us for a specific purpose and legally have to be used towards that purpose. The commitments are exclusively our past year during the pandemic years when we were receiving LCFF supplemental concentration grants, but we were not operating at full capacity. We were shelter in place, we were hybrid learning, we were all different kinds of varied instructional models, and we were not providing all the services. Therefore, we weren't spending all of those LCFF supplemental concentration dollars. Those are supplemental. They have to be utilized towards increasing and improving services for high need students, and most importantly, they have to be written into the LCAP. And so you'll see that that balance is decreasing in our projections of future years as we apply that into the LCAP to provide services to high need students. So following up on, let me go back, on the orange within the available reserves, because that's the portion that is available for any district operating need. It could be the math textbook adoption, it can be any one-time expense and emergencies. When we look at our available reserves, other than the blip that happened, the 18.4% around the pandemic when we got flushed with COVID relief dollars and we weren't operating open schools, right? So you're not spending at the same level. You do see an increase in the reserve at that time, and that makes sense for those two reasons. But when you get past that, we are very fairly stable on our available reserves. You don't see a lot of wiggling. That line is stable. We continue to maintain just under 2 months of operating expenses, meaning payroll and vendor bills and utilities, 14.8% as of 25-26 second interim is 1.8 months worth of bills as an equivalent. And then this slide I just always include because I think it's helpful to see, we talk about the general fund, right, because that's what supports the vast majority of the district's expenses, but we do have operating funds that cover all different areas of need or operations within the district. Across all operating funds, the district has a budget of $936 million. Wow, that's a large number. We're slightly down from the prior years. Again, this is as we're spending down those pandemic dollars and the one-time dollars, but still a very high amount and definitely higher than BCSD's normal once we get through these high carryover balances. So as of January 31st, as of this snapshot of second interim, BCSD has a positive certification. That means that BCSD is able to meet our financial obligations in the current year and the 2 projected years. And that is, as of today, any changes to our budget or our spending, or revenue updates, as Pam alluded to, the federal government is sure trying to reduce education funding, but to this date, BCSD maintains a positive certification. And that's the end of that update. Happy to entertain any questions if you should have any.
Mr. Fuentes? No? Mr.
No.
Dr. Chris? Ms. Malley?
Thank you for keeping us financially sound. I know that when you look around at other districts in California right now, they're not as in good shape as us, so.
Well, and I thank you to Mrs. Corral over there, our Director of Fiscal Services, and her team, because they are the ones that keep the accounting straight and keep us in good standing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Gladden. Moving on to number 2. It is recommended that the second interim report be accepted and certification that there's on there twice. District will be able to meet its financial obligations for the current fiscal year 2025-2026 and for the subsequent 2 fiscal years be approved. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion, comments? We'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Fuentes?
Yes.
Mr. Eggert?
Yes.
Dr. Chris?
Yes.
Ms. Malley?
Yes.
And I myself, Laura, am a yes. Okay, number 3. It is recommended that the budget revision for the 2025-2026 school year be approved. Do I have a motion?
This is Chris, so moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? We'll do a roll call. Mr. Fuentes?
Yes.
Mr. Eggert?
Yes.
Dr. Chris?
Yes.
Ms. Malley?
Yes.
I myself am a yes as well. Number 4, it is recommended that the board approve the submission of Form J-13A to the California Department of Education requesting allowance of attendance credit. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve.
Second,
This is Chris, I second.
discussion?
This is for the fog delays, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? We'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Fuentes?
Yes.
Mr. Eggert?
Yes.
Dr. Chris?
Yes.
Ms. Malley?
Yes.
And I myself, Laura, am a yes. Number 5. It is recommended that the board approve the proposed 2025-26 Proposition 28 Arts and Music in Schools LEA and School Site Plan. Do I have a motion?
Motion. Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Woo-hoo.
Thank you.
We'll take it. We'll take
I know, I love that our arts programs get more money. I'm here for it.
Thank you. And we'll do a roll call. Mr. Fuentes?
Yes.
Mr. Eggert?
Yes.
Dr. Chris?
Yes.
Ms. Malley?
Yes.
I myself, Laura, am a yes. Okay, moving on to the Assistant Superintendent Report, Mr. Havens.
All right, good evening again. Tonight I have for you seeking approval for both the Certificated Human Resources Report as well as the Classified Human Resources Report.
Thank you. Moving on to number 2, it is recommended that the Certificated Human Resources Report be approved as submitted. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion, comments? I have a comment. I saw on here a couple people who are retiring, and I don't know if the public ever really looks at this particular part of the agenda, but one of the teachers on here, Miss Castro, she's a dual immersion teacher at Voorhees. And she is an amazing teacher, and she's gonna be missed. She was with BC, 26 years, 8 months, and 9 days. That's commitment. We also have another teacher on here, Ms. Rosalinda Medina. She's a teacher at Betsy Owens, 42 years, 9 months and 11 days. Thank you. Thank you for those countless years. And these kids will always remember you. I know my kids will. I know Joey will. We have some amazing teachers at BCSD. Anybody? Yeah, very impressive. 42 years is, it's a big commitment. Any other comments? We'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Fuentes?
Yes.
Mr. Eggert?
Yes.
Dr. Chris?
Yes.
Miss Malley? Yes. I myself, Laura, am a yes. Moving on to number 3. It is recommended that the classified human resources report be approved as submitted. Do I have a motion?
Motion?
Second?
This is Chris, I second.
Thank you. Any discussion, comments? Mr. Fuentes?
Yes.
Mr. Eggert?
Yes.
Dr. Chris?
Yes.
Miss Malley?
Yes.
I myself, Laura, am a yes. Moving on to J, board policies. It is recommended that the proposed revision to the board policies and procedures of the Bakersfield City School District, section 603.24, married, pregnant, parenting students, the second reading, reviewed as a first reading on 2/24/26 be adopted. Do I have a motion?
This is Chris, so moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? We'll do roll call. Mr. Fuentes?
Yes.
Mr. Eggert?
Yes.
Dr. Chris?
Yes.
Miss Malley?
Yes.
I myself, Laura, am a yes. Moving on to K, the consent agenda. It is recommended that the consent agenda be approved as submitted. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any
I have
discussion?
Discussion.
Yes.
There's 3 items I want to discuss. First was number 16, the Be Glad. I was able at CABE to go to 2 different trainings by Be Glad. Coolest professional development I've ever experienced, and I've done a lot of professional development. So I'm like super excited to vote for this one. Mr. Seha, good job. I'm so excited. And then on 36, I just want to say, like, I've spoken at previous meetings. And when I went to, I already had a parent reach out to me because this week is parent-teacher conference about the asphalt and the cones that they put up so that kids don't get hurt while they are playing outside or walking the track at Washington. So I'm really enthusiastic about item number 36, that we're finally have a chance that the kids can use the only outdoor space they have. I'm so excited. Was what I'm really excited about. And then we had one that was like kind of controversial in the news. I just wanted to ask Sherry, so my understanding was that we're joining on the Clovis bid so that we possibly could buy buses. This isn't that, like, in our consent agenda, we're approving $14 million to instantly buy buses. It just leaves this possibility open for us, or could you further respond to this?
So, two items go together, and that is the piggyback bid with the Clovis.
Yeah.
Because we received the ZESB grant, the Zero Emission School Bus Incentive Grant, and that grant specifically funds 32 buses. So we are looking to make the purchase of the 32 buses with the ZESB grant paying the bulk share of that, with the district using a little less than $2 million that we have set aside in Fund 15 for this purpose to pick up the remaining amount of the buses. And this is because we are working towards the CARB regulations, which require, like, we would not be
100%.
looking to invest in electric or buy additional buses if we were not required to be moving along with the California regulations, part of being in California, and moving towards that. So we are very fortunate to have the grant that is funding the majority of these buses, but this will be to utilize the ZESB grant that then allows us to make this bus purchase.
I noticed the grant covered, I think, 81% of the
It's a
total cost, which is
significant
really
amount.
impressive.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of mandates in California, so this is something we have to do by, I think, 2035.
And keep in mind that the board did authorize us to apply for additional grants. So we also concurrently are still applying for San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control grants. And so any additional grants that we get in helps to cover that. But the district did set aside specifically funding within Fund 15 because we knew we wouldn't get 100% funding. And so this will make up the difference. But you are correct, Board Member Mallialt, that by 2035 we have to be in compliance, and so it is a big task. We are years in progress at this point, and receiving the confirmation of the ZESB award is what allows us to go forward on this.
And just for clarification for the public, the grant money cannot be used for anything else.
It cannot be used for anything
People had
else.
a lot
It's
of suggestions for
It's
us.
very specific on how much can go towards buses, how much can go towards the charging stations, and how much can go towards the infrastructure upgrade for the power.
And we need to get kids to school.
And
We
need to get
do.
kids
I mean,
to
I
school.
think, was our, like, 2 meetings ago, we were talking about how an increase, it was like 1 in 6 of our kids is now designated as special education and needs transportation. And that's not just, we may not have more students, but we do have more students that have transportation needs that are very specific. So at some point, we're gonna need more buses. We are gonna need them. I just wanted to express, I was a little like, one of my big things is I really hate items that are gonna cost more than $5 million being on the consent agenda. And it still says to be determined, but on the news, everyone's like, $14 million. And I was like, I can't even find anything on my agenda that says $14 million.
And so, it's item number 12 that partners with it. $14,295,091.52.
Yeah.
So it is a significant price tag, but to Board Member Mallialt's point as well, that is just over 80% covered with grant funds.
And
so
this
that
has
is a
been
significant
part of a
lift.
larger plan too, like we've purchased other property to make sure we have space for it.
To make
this
sure
is
we have
not-
space.
this is
We've been
not
working
just
with
something-
PG&E for
Yeah.
well over a year now on the power upgrade. And so the comments were assuming that we're starting right from this, but to realize that it's been a very well thought out,
100%.
meticulous plan.
Yeah, because we authorized you to keep writing grants and looking for things,
Yes.
right? Yeah, okay. I was like, we already
Yeah.
voted on that, like, yes. full
And
speed
that's
ahead.
really Mrs. Tammy Roll from Transportation who did all the hard work on that ZESB, so.
I did have one discussion also for 23. Can I do that right now?
Do it.
For the purchase of the Go Guardian Hall Pass software, I did look into that and it looks like we're piloting using that new software, I believe at 2 junior highs. I just wanted to make sure that students, since we have these new cell phone ban implementations going to effect, students aren't using their cell phone to ask for a hall pass, right?
I actually don't know
Okay.
how that's
They use
used.
iPads,
Would that
right?
be
Yeah, I think
Dr.
they use
Fullenweider?
They
I
can
said at
use
one of
their,
the
their
schools.
iPads if they're in
Okay.
the classroom.
I just was thinking about that. I was like,
And
okay.
they,
Chromebooks.
so,
Okay.
not,
No
we have
So no
Apple-
phones at all though, right?
No, they can use their
Okay.
Chromebooks, they can scan it with their Chromebooks as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we have them at 2 schools, so we currently have it at Chipman and Curran.
Okay.
And we piloted it last year because, anything new, we kind of
Yes, yeah.
want to make sure how the teachers like it, how the admin likes it, and it was been very positive to make sure that it's more of a safety for our kiddos. And so we'd like to continue to 2 more junior highs to see
Okay.
how that goes.
So it's been working and you know where the students are at all times, and then also the teacher doesn't have to stop and fill out the paperwork themselves, so I like that. Okay.
But our Chromebooks, there's Chromebooks in every.
And it was a lot cheaper than I thought it was gonna be. I mean, 1,500 a school is really not
For
that much.
technology.
For technology, normally we pay a lot. I was surprised.
That's for Emerson and Lincoln.
Yes, for
Emerson,
how many years?
801 students, and Lincoln, 591 students, so that's.
Yeah.
Okay, any more discussion? Okay, we'll do roll call. Mr. Fuentes?
Yes.
Mr. Eggert?
Yes.
Dr. Chris?
Yes.
Ms. Malley?
Yes.
I myself, Lara, am a yes. And it is recommended that the meeting be adjourned.
Motion to adjourn.
This is Chris, I second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.